They're only a few weeks into the job, but Britain's new Prime Minister and Finance Minister are already facing criticism over their handling of the economy. The International Monetary Fund has told them to reconsider their budget plans, while the Bank of England has stepped in to stabilise financial markets. Joining me live from London is Craig Erlam, Senior Market Analyst at Oanda. Thanks for joining us. The new UK Prime Minister, Liz Truss, has been copping a lot of criticism since her mini budget of borrowing billions of pounds to give the wealthy a tax cut. Following that budget, the Bank of England stepped in because the pound collapsed and there were serious issues in the bond markets. Have the markets stabilised following this intervention?
They've stabilised a little bit, but there's no doubt that they have the potential to destabilise again unless we see some significant action from either the government or the Bank of England. Then it really needs to come from the government. Now, all other authorities and in all of the ways, there's been attempts to try and calm both markets and really the general public, but also the Tory backbench and also economists. And the ways that that's been done is the Bank of England talking up the prospect of large rate hikes, which, yes, may stabilise the currency markets, but it won't make people's lives any easier. And then as well, there was talk yesterday evening of the Chancellor looking to involve the OBR and see how quickly, effectively, we can get new forecasts. There's a lot of pressure from the Tory backbench to try and bring forward the November 23rd budget much earlier to try and soothe markets by either reversing some of these tax cuts or offsetting them with budgetary savings or other form of revenue generating measures, which means that we don't have to borrow as much to fund these tax cuts for the wealthy, as you say. A number of different things have happened over the course of the last 48 hours in order to try and soothe the nerves, because the initial announcement really was a shock to the markets. Massive tax cuts, mainly favouring the wealthy, be paid for by more borrowing at a time when debt was already around 100% of GDP and inflation near 10%. It really was nonsensical. So hopefully we'll get more sense from it over the course of the next couple of weeks now.
Craig, how close were we to a total breakdown of liquidity and a Lehman-style event?
So it's always hard to say because the central bank always has its finger on the pulse, and there's measures in place which enable them to become aware when these instabilities arise. Obviously, had the Bank of England not acted, then it does appear that we could have seen maybe not a Lehman-style event, but maybe a Lehman-style event for the UK because of the impact that would have had on the bond markets, particularly at the longer end of the yield curve. Pension funds could have been in a lot of trouble because of the need to continue to raise more equity, which would have meant selling more gilts and therefore driving yields higher. And obviously, problems beget problems, and it's always the hidden problems which are often the more catastrophic. So we won't thankfully learn what they are because the Bank of England became aware of these issues and stepped in order to address them. This was not a quantitative easing style package. This was a very targeted package in the short term aimed to alleviate these pressures in the market and prevent some real substantial systemic issues within the government bond market, but then also within the broader market, including pensions, etc.